Yeah, undoubtedly the two players that will be giving Nuno Espirito Santo the biggest headache this evening, who are filling in planning for this game, are Bryan Mbeumo and Yoane Wissa. 34 Premier League goals between them, 18 for Mbeumo, 16 for Wissa. The pair scored again when they partnered up against Brighton and Hove Albion last time out. And Courtney, I mean, we often talk about goal-scoring partnerships. I know in this instance Wissa plays a little bit forward and Mbeumo out wide, but as a combination they've just been truly devastating.
Yeah, they do, and they complement each other so well, as you say. You know, it's not necessarily that forward too, and Mbeumo plays a little bit wider, but I think the way that Brentford play, and very much similar, I was talking about Forest and the way they play to Chris Wood's strength, and it's the same with Mbeumo and Wissa. I think we'll see it tonight, and it'd be quite interesting actually, because I think styles are a little bit similar in terms of both like to play counter-attacking football, like to almost sit back and wait for a team to attack. So for me tonight, it's a little bit between the sides of who blinks first and who can, you know, get that counter-attacking quickly, be precise, be clinical, but you know, neither team's going to give an inch, so I think it's going to be an interesting clash.
There's a lot as well. They're the only team in the Premier League with two players who've got more than 15 goals this season, yet they sit here 11th. Obviously they could well stay 11th tonight, really, whatever happens. How important would it be to try and get that Conference League football for Brentford in particular, and we'll talk about it more at half-time, in terms of trying to keep Thomas Frank?
Yeah, I mean, it is massive, and you've got to give credit, though, to Brentford in terms of the size of the club, where they've come from, everything that they've put in place to get themselves to this position. And you're right, look, Mbeumo and Wissa obviously are right up there, you know, in terms of goal scoring. Would you want a few more goals from around them? Of course you would, and I think at times that has potentially been their sticking point. Shard has sort of been a bit stop-start. He's got a hat-trick, didn't he, earlier on in the season, and he's probably not a consistent goal scorer. He comes in 2s and 3s and then doesn't score for a while. So I think the overall goal scoring within the team is something going forward that needs to be better for Brentford.
It's one of the things that stands out with these two sides going toe-to-toe this evening. Every outfield player for Nottingham Forest this evening has found the back of the net so far this season. The two teams are out. The atmosphere, as ever, in the City Ground is electric. The only kind of bank of empty seats over in the far corner, and those are from the travelling Brentford supporters. Tricky, of course, on a hot evening to work your way up the motorway to Nottingham with work commitments, etc. But this place is absolutely packed to the rafters in red and white as ever. Let's remind you of the two teams quickly then. Sells is in goal for Forest, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams across the back. It's Yates and Anderson in central midfield, with Elanga, Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi supporting Chris Wood, who's aiming to become only the second Nottingham Forest player to notch 20 Premier League goals in a season, of course, following on from Stanley Victor Collymore, and that was almost 30 years ago. As for Brentford, they have Flecken in goal, Coyote, Collins, Vandenberg and Lewis Potter across the back, Norgard and Yarmolic in central midfield, with Schade, Damsgaard and Mbeumo supporting Wissa, who is up top. The man in charge this evening is Darren England, and this is our 399th commentary game across the Talksport network this evening. Number 400, well, that will get underway when Manchester United take on Athletic Bilbao over on Talksport at 8 o'clock this evening. And a reminder, your other choice of listening tonight, see Spurs against Bodo Glimt in that Europa League semi-final. That is available via the Talksport app, as is so much more on the Talksport app. If you want to go on there, you can watch videos. I was having a scoot through today. Interesting comments from Troy Deeney around who does the victory, or a victory in the Europa League, mean more to, Manchester United or Spurs? It's an interesting question, an interesting debate. You can see what Troy thinks if you head to the Talksport app and a search through the videos. We're almost ready to get underway. Darren England in charge, as I say. The VAR is Craig Pawson. It was Darren England who was in charge when Brentford beat Forest 3-2 back in January 2024. Now, one of the best moments at the City Ground as Mullet Kintyre fires up. Undoubtedly one of the most intimidating atmospheres. What a crescendo of noise as Nottingham Forest try to get back to winning ways and get their Champions League campaign back on track, and they're kicking from left to right in the opening 45 minutes. So they'll be defending the Trent end away to our left-hand side, and immediately Mbeumo puts the ball out of play on that far touchline. What will be a throw-in for Nottingham Forest, and it'll be taken on that left-hand side by Nico Williams. Had the heartache of that suspension at the weekend for the FA Cup semi-final, as of course did Ryan Yates, and as a young academy graduate, I think that would have probably caused him plenty of distress, having collected those 2 yellow cards in previous FA Cup rounds.
Yeah, and it's a dream, isn't it, to play with your side at Wembley. I'm still of the camp, to be honest, that it should only be the finals played there, but that's a debate for another day. But yeah, to miss out on a day like that, like I say, when you've come through the academy, is heart-wrenching. But Forest are in a good place now. You wouldn't bet against them having a good run next season. Obviously, to say going for Europe, there could be better nights to come for Ryan Yates.
Alanga back into Ola Aina. They'll be very pleased to have him back in the starting 11 tonight. That calf injury picked up way back at the beginning of April has denied him a few weeks football. He's on the attack now down this right-hand side for Forest. Early ball into the box. Gibbs White was making the run at the near post, but it's well gathered that time by Flecken away to our right-hand side.
It's a great ball. Wonderful ball. Bags of pace whipped across the 6-yard line. Someone has to be gambling on that for Forest.
Here's Visser deep inside Forest territory. Coyote out wide on that right-hand side. Visser in the white boots just keeps possession and holds the ball up here for Forest, for Brentford again, in towards Mbeumo, who controls nicely. And then onto his left foot, just goes infield where he picks out Damsgaard. And now Damsgaard driving forward down that right-hand edge of the penalty area. Damsgaard still going here, gets the cross towards the back post. Schade gets it down, and it bounces in the 6-yard box and has to be hacked behind by Murillo. Schade with a very clever header, but it will be a corner for Brentford on this left-hand side.
He should be very unhappy with his teammates there, Schade, because I think both Whistler and Mbeumo almost give up on this. I don't think they're expecting him to get any purchase on the ball, or if he does, not got a purchase as good as this, but they don't make that gamble, and Forest clear for the corner, but 2 really good passages to play for each side in quite quick succession.
It's a really great header down from Schade. He did terrifically well to get anywhere near that. Here comes the corner on the left-hand side for Brentford. So right-footed, swung towards that back post. Everyone's evaded that the header. It looks like there's a foul in the edge of the 6-yard box, or certainly Chris Wood was asking for a foul. The referee not interested, and again the ball travels across the 6-yard area and is eventually cleared out for a throw on this near side to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I think it was Norgard, wasn't it? The back post area does well, heads the ball down. He's just trying to find an area, maybe hoping it takes a deflection on the way through. And that's one of them where it's just really unfortunate. I think the first time, as I say, the header down from Schade, Brentford don't gamble well enough, whereas that one, I think it's just really unfortunate that the way it bounces, it isn't to a Brentford player.
Yeah, it was definitely Chris Wood who was on the floor claiming he was fouled. The referee not interested. Milenkovic, I think, got the final touch to clear the ball away, and early danger for Forest, and good work down this left-hand side by Keane Lewis Potter. Here's Visser towards the edge of the penalty area, still going, comes out towards Schade, and again Murillo is there with an important challenge, but Coyote will lift the ball in to the penalty spot, half cleared, picked up onto the right foot for Damsgaard, and now once more it's gathered by Lewis Potter out wide on this left-hand side. And Mbeumo, this is a brilliant start from Brentford, high energy on the attack and just not allowing Forest to settle at all. Yeah,
and Lewis Potter, by the way, does exceptionally well just in front of us. He's got that quick manipulation of the ball, obviously. Now, he's played there for most of the season now, but not really a full-back, but just gives that little bit of attacking intent, doesn't he, going forward? But defensively, he's been very good as well and grown throughout the season in that position.
Verdi on the far side, on loan, of course, from Fiorentina. First start against Brighton. Keeps his place tonight in that right-back berth. Ball at the feet this time of Sepp van den Berg, midway inside his own half. Just feeds the ball out to the right where he finds Nathan Collins. 150th career league appearance for Nathan Collins tonight. Signed, of course, from Wolves, previously at Burnley as well. Forward down this left-hand side comes Van den Berg. Into the feet once more of Damsgaard. Ball over the top, trying to find the run of Mbeumo. Swapped over here for the moment. Schade's gone out on that right-hand side. And Bumo on this left-hand side, and again that flexibility in that front three, and we're only 4 minutes into the game and they've already shifted it round.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard to pick up. Very dynamic, the way that they move, and they just fill space. It's not necessarily a position, and Lewis Potter there just took a bad fall to come in together. It's not purposeful by Elanga, but it's one of those, when you're up in the air, you get a little bit of a nudge in. He's landed flat on his back. He's holding his lower back at the minute. It was a right thud when he came down.
Yeah, it was Elanga who was up for the challenge as well, and it's purely accidental. Elanga immediately waving his finger to say not my fault, but it's looked really uncomfortable for Lewis Potter. It will be a free kick for Brentford, midway inside their own half, away to our right hand side. They've won 5 of their last 7 away games in 2025. They had failed to win any of the first 9. They've really kind of picked themselves up with their away form. Admittedly, their home form has suffered in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think it was something that was spoken about quite heavily, wasn't it, at the start of the season, but probably shows you it's the way that the fixtures have fallen, and the sort of the teams that they've faced at home, and then obviously conversely away. It's I think more of that, and rather than these big conversations that are being had, why are you so good at home, why is it away, but it's just to say the way the fixtures have fallen.
All over the top.
What a touch.
Brumo has taken that down beautifully, trying to take on Nico Williams, right edge of the penalty area on that far side. Lovely slip ball to Coyote, who'd continued his run, but too much on it and out of play away to our left-hand side. And that will be a goal kick for Forest, and a chance maybe just to slow things down a bit for Matt Sells, because it's been fairly frantic and not to their advantage so far. Yeah,
there was that great ball from the right-hand side from Aina early on in the game, and aside from that, it's been all Brentford. I've been really impressed with them. They've took the game to Forest. You see now both Wissa and Shard are on the edge of the box. They're going for the high press. They're setting the trap. There's Damsgaard and Buemo as well on the other side, and I've been really impressed with the start. But we've mentioned it, it's a hot night, so how long can they keep this sort of press up, this energy, this physicality up for? They've got to be clever how they manage their energy tonight.
Forest go long, obviously trying to find Chris Wood, and the arms are up in the air immediately from Thomas Frank down below. Looks like he's had a trim up, and he's happy that the free kick went the way of Brentford midway inside their own half. Taken quickly, Yates is caught a little bit late there. The referee says play on, and he says play on because Forest have it, and Gibbs White tries to play a ball through, and the advantage was played, none gained in this instance for the home side, and it allows Vandenberg to bring it away down that right hand side for Brentford into Mbumo. Helps on its way where he finds Mikkel Damsgaard. Tricky with the ball at his feet, Damsgaard, as that ball is laid forward once more. Taken down by Wood. Wood then on that far side just holding the ball up and bringing Hudson-Odoi into the game. And that's the problem so far in the opening 8 minutes or so. We've not really had a chance for Elanga or Hudson-Odoi or Wood to get themselves on the ball.
No, they've not. And problem is as well, I think Brentford are quite clever. You see now the way that they're sat into the shape, they make it very difficult. They're in a 4-4-2 out of possession. And speaking about Forest, they like the counter-attack. We've said it time and again. They use that pace in the wide areas, get the ball into central areas to Chris Wood as well and Gibbs White, but it's been really difficult for them to execute the game plan purely because Brentford have had the ball for most of the game so far.
We're 8 minutes into Nottingham Forest against Brentford from the City Ground. This is Premier League Live on Talksport 2. As Collins is put under pressure by Wood just outside the Brentford penalty area, but does well, gets it up to Mbumo, and here they come again. Brentford on the charge, over halfway down that right hand side. Mbumo first touch just took it away from him in this instance, and he was being tracked all the way by 2 red shirts, and now the counter's on. Ola Aina away down this right hand side. He's got Elanga ahead of him, but he's taken his man on himself. Aina gets the crossover, Wood gets a touch, comes out to Gibbs White, feints for the shot, picks it with his right foot, and it's headed away from the edge of the 6-yard box by Nathan Collins brilliantly. Super defending from him, and then a free kick goes Brentford's way, midway inside their own half with a foul from Gibbs White on Kevin Sharder.
Collins does well, don't get me wrong, but for me I want Morgan Gibbs White to take this on first time with his left foot. I think maybe just trying to be a little bit too clever, get it onto his right foot, but that's the first time that Brentford have been caught in transition there, and Nottingham Forest do ever so well because they get the ball out to the right hand side really quickly. Brentford can't get across quickly enough, and they exploit the space that's been left.
Well, Gibbs White's protestations have earned him a yellow card from Darren England. I think he's not really got too much to argue about. He's nowhere near getting his foot on the ball, and he only contacts with Sharder. So he's got himself a yellow card. Gibbs White, first of the game, almost 10 minutes played on Talksport 2. It remains Forest 0, Brentford 0. And Brentford have possession midway inside their own half. And it is with Nathan Collins once more. A couple of goals this season for him in an attacking sense against Wolves and Newcastle. He's one of two, though, to start every single game this season for Thomas Frank's side, as they look to come forward down the right with a clip ball over the top for Visser. He's got Murillo with him all the way by the corner flag. Does well to keep it alive and shrug off the attentions of Murillo, but then Murillo will pick up the second ball and gets it forward up that far touchline for Forest. Wood is then challenged by Collins. Well, in fact, he was challenged in the end by Damsgaard. It was a throw for Forest on that far side, just short of halfway. And it'll be taken by Nico Williams. Lost 3 of their last 4 in all competitions. Have Forest, of course, a couple of those in the league. Those back-to-back defeats against Everton and also Aston Villa. There's the foul there on Elanga on this near side, and Lewis Potter not interested in the ball, and there's fury all around, and there is going to be a yellow card here as well for Keane Lewis Potter. Had no intention of attempting to get the ball. No,
that's retaliation from the challenge that he thought was purposeful from Elanga. I didn't think so at the time, to be honest, but you see there Lewis Potter, and the problem is he's right in front of the official as well. You can see it from a mile off. He's got no eyes whatsoever for the ball. He's just looking straight at Elanga, and yeah, gets himself in the book early doors, and it's really not a good challenge. The more you see it, the more that it's so blatantly obvious, couple of yards away from the assistant.
Yeah, some say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, he only waited about 3 or 4 minutes before taking his revenge. A 6th yellow card of the season for Keane Lewis Potter, who's still protesting his innocence. Thomas Frank furious about the yellow card from Darren England, but what's done is done. Free kick to Forest, 2 yards in from this near touchline, midway inside the Brentford half. Gibbs White was over the top, but he's going to leave it for Callum Hudson-Odoi to deliver. Well, now he's going back in for a second conversation between the two, and in fact Gibbs White has now moved Hudson-Odoi out the way and is going to take it himself once referee Darren England is happy. There's 3 or 4 red shirts all lurking at the edge of the Brentford penalty area, and no doubt they'll be the intended target. Nico Williams is probably about 10 yards outside the box, away to our right hand side. There's the whistle from Darren England. Hudson-Odoi lets it go, and now him and Gibbs White, they're having a discussion. This must be pre-planned. It is. Eventually it's whipped in, but it's whipped in appallingly by Gibbs White. Doesn't get beyond the first man, and then the flag is up anyway for what would have been an offside. Well, I've seen some routines in my time. Not sure that one goes down as being too successful. No,
I'm not sure what was worse, the acting or the actual free kick itself. Both really poor, and it's a big opportunity missed for Nottingham Forest, especially when you've got the likes of Chris Wood obviously in the box. It's got to be a better ball in than that.
Brentford with possession just inside their own half, and another free kick for a foul on Mbumo this time, about 10 yards inside Forest territory. Michael Damsgaard immediately over the top of it. The Dane trying to get play moving quickly for Brentford, but it's cleared away down that left-hand side by Anderson with a long ball over the top, which Wood tries to chase after, but just far too much on it. Out of play for a throw on the far side to Brentford. You're listening to Nottingham Forest against Brentford on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Nottingham Forest against Brentford, live right now. Search Now Sports. It remains 0-0. Throw in on the far side for Brentford. Midway inside their own half. Coyote's got a real throw on him. He's launched that forward towards Schade. Well read by Nico Williams, who chests it down, and then he and Murillo will just feed the ball back to Sells away to our left-hand side. 50th Premier League appearance, as I mentioned, for Nottingham Forest. 13 clean sheets to his name so far this season. He's actually in pole position to try and get the Golden Glove in the Premier League, and he's been a real asset for Forest, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, and obviously Nuno, as a former goalkeeper himself, has spoken about him, his attributes and how well he's done this season. And yeah, obviously I think you always want that spine of the team, don't you? And he's the start of that. Sells
Here's Alanga down the right-hand side, level with the penalty spot. Alanga going towards the byline, cuts that ball back across. Well, he's gone out of play as he delivered the cross. They're claiming there was some contact in the process, but he still managed to put the ball in, and now Brentford trying to break away quickly and go on the counter-attack, but then Mbeumo just slows things down midway inside his own half, and the boos are for Darren England and also for Keane Lewis Potter from the home supporters.
I think he needs to be careful, Lewis Potter. I think he's boiled over. We've seen, in terms of the challenge on Alanga, that he's got the caution for, especially with his pace, Alanga, and the way that he gets at players. I think he might be able to just make a bit of a fool of Lewis Potter if he's not careful. He needs to keep his emotions in check because they're very high at the moment.
Van den Berg goes back to Flecken away to the right-hand side. 15 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Forest 0, Brentford 0. Visser's on the chase here, and it's a foot race against Nico Williams, which he tries to win, and Williams commits the foul, and it will be a free kick. And again Williams going towards the referee. Milenkovic not happy as well. Visser has won the free kick though for Brentford, about 10 yards inside the Forest half on that far touchline.
On first viewing for me, not sure what Nico Williams is moaning about. He might get a touch on the ball, but he gets a whole lot of whistle, and that's the problem. We know in the modern day now how it works. You can't go man and ball. Doesn't even touch the ball. We get the benefit of the replay here in the press box. Gets nowhere near the ball, and descending into a bit of a scrappy game match. I think Darren England might have a bit of a job on his hands going forward. We're only 16 minutes in, and it's a little bit of chaos already.
Well, we heard at the start of the game tonight how a couple of ex-pros kind of feel that when it gets like this, it really does suit Forest. They like a scrap. Yeah,
they do, and they've got that, as you say, the players in their team with that sort of attribute. And going back to what I said about Lewis Potter, if I'm Alanga or anyone down that right-hand side, or the Forest right-hand side, I'm thinking play on him now. And yeah, they've got a bit of nous about him and experience, Forest.
Mikkel Damsgaard is going to deliver this free kick from that right-hand side. It is midway inside. They've probably got about an extra 10 or so yards there. It's now midway inside the Forest half. And Collins is up from the back, as is Van den Berg, to provide some danger. It comes to Van den Berg, saved by Sells, low down to his right-hand side, palms it away excellently. Not too sure how much power was on that from Van den Berg, but it certainly forced the save from the Belgian keeper. And now Forest will try and clear it with Chris Wood through the middle, and they'll try and break away down that left-hand side. Hudson-Odoi, ball at feet on halfway, looks for the switch, just gives the ball away though to Visser at the edge of the centre circle, and Brentford will come again on that right-hand side. Coyote's on the charge, but Visser has lost possession to Anderson, and again Anderson just catches Visser late, and that's going to be a free kick for Brentford and a yellow card for Elliot Anderson.
Right, where do we start with this then? So initially, by the way, the save from Sells was brilliant. Yes, there's not much on the header from Van den Berg. I don't know whether he thinks he's potentially offside or there might have been a bit of a foul in the build-up. Then the transition again, both teams get the ball back, lose it, get the ball back, lose it, and then again in the middle, challenges flying in. The one that starts from Anderson, I think Chris Wood actually might have got himself in the book as well. It's everything's happening. It's at the ball in the back of the net at the moment.
And that's only because of that terrific save from Matt Sells. Just guided that header, did Van den Berg. It was heading towards the corner, and yet again Sells comes to the rescue for Forest. He only kept one clean sheet the back half of last season since he joined in the January, but this time around a completely different story in this rejuvenated Nottingham Forest side. Here's the free kick, clipped over the top. This has gone down at the edge of the box, but nothing doing from the referee. No surprise there. We've been playing here for 18 and a half minutes, and it's been raucous stuff so far. The only thing missing is a goal. Forest 0, Brentford 0. A reminder, our 400th commentary of this season across the Talksport network is coming up over on Talksport, and that's live for you from 8 o'clock. Athletic Bilbao against Manchester United in the Europa League semi-final first leg, and also getting underway at 8 o'clock via the Talksport app tonight, Spurs against Bodo Glimt. We'll keep you up to date on all those games as the goals go in. Of course, Chelsea kick off at 8 as well against Djurgården. And we'll have reports from Ian Abrahams and Sam Allard, who are watching those games, as that ball's played wide to the far side, trying to play Hudson-Odoi in, but it's read by Coyote on this occasion, and he does well to win back possession for Brentford. And it's going to be picked up on this near side, the left-hand side, and you can tell who's got the ball at his feet. Keane Lewis Potter. Whenever you hear a boo tonight, I can guarantee you he will be the one with possession of the football, that's for sure. Brentford just taking now a bit of a sting and a bit of energy out of the game. As we mentioned, a very warm evening here in the East Midlands by the River Trent. And it's been a frantic start, and you feel that the players may just need to have those moments. Murillo's on one of his marauding runs forward deep inside the Brentford half for the centre-back. Doesn't keep possession of the ball though, and in the end there's a handball against Elliot Anderson, who's already been booked. I think Kevin Sharder's making that point as Darren England allows them to get ready for the free kick. It's currently 0-0 between Nottingham Forest and Brentford, and for the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport's 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Forest at 11-8 to win, Brentford at 2-1, and the draw is 21-10. That's all thanks to William Hill, 18+, gambleaware.org. Free kick for Brentford, and maybe just a chance for everyone to have a little breather in what's been a frantic opening.
Yeah, and I think that's what Brentford need to do at the moment with possession of the ball. Yes, we know that both teams, that the way they play in terms of on that transition, it's high energy, but someone needs to take control of this game. It's been very frantic, very chaotic, and you see Brentford are trying to do that now just by playing a few balls around the back and probably not coming forward with quite as much tempo as they have been previously.
You know, this franticness is not really something you associate with Thomas Frank, is it? Yes, tempo, but the frantic manner and the fractious manner of this game so far. Headed away poorly that time from the edge of the Forest penalty area. Nearly forced to Visser at the edge of the box, but it's a right-footed clip forward by Anderson on this near side that runs away, trying to find Elanga, but it just skips into the arms of Thomas Frank, who's full of energy in that technical area, and it will be a throw to Brentford again on this left-hand side.
Guess who's on the ball now? Guess who's picked the ball up to take the throw in? But I think maybe Brentford a little bit have been drawn in by the energy here, you know, at the City ground. We've mentioned that I think a bit of a scrap probably suits Nottingham Forest a little bit more. The fans all know that as well, and sort of taking full advantage of using their voices, using the atmosphere, and trying to help the players in that sense.
The thing about Lewis Potter is he's bided his time before getting his opportunities here at Brentford, of course, in his third year, and he's very much making his way as a left back at this moment in time, getting that team any way he can. He's solved that problem while Rico Henry was injured. This is a brilliant run here from Aina down the right hand side for Forest, still going. And Lewis Potter with a challenge, and Darren England is immediately called upon, of course, by the supporters and some of the Forest players. He's sending them away. It was Lewis Potter who took down Ola Aina, but I'm not sure it was worthy of a yellow card.
No, it's a foul, there's no doubt about that. It's not a yellow card, and Aina's really clever, because as soon as he sees an opening to go through the two defenders, one being Lewis Potter and the other one being Sharder, he just almost initiates the contact. He's very clever, but that's what I was saying earlier. If you're a Forest player, if you're Aina, if you're Elanga playing up against him, they're the dark arts, they're the things that you do to try and gain an advantage.
It's a brilliant run as well from Aina, isn't it?
Yeah.
So good on the ball. Midway point of the first half, free kick for Forest. Right hand side, midway between the edge of the penalty area and the touchline on this near side. It's probably about 15 yards out from goal. Anthony Elanga is the player that's going to deliver. The City ground holds its breath in anticipation. Elanga on his right foot. Darren England's happy, and it is swung with some pace, and it's half-headed out sideways, I think in the end, by Milenkovic, and it allows Brentford to try and break down this left-hand side. When Bumo's in possession, he's got Aina around him, does well to keep it, and then feeds it out to this left-hand side, where Damsgaard then looks to drill a ball up to Visser, but in the end Milenkovic is back, and Nico Williams will take things under control for Forest on that far side. And they go forward again down that left-hand touchline. Hudson-Odoi in a foot race here with Coyote. Coyote's going to get there first with the help of a little shove from Hudson-Odoi, just to remind him he's there. Looks a fairly decent race between those two. On this occasion, the Brentford man wins it and concedes the throw on the far side.
I was just looking at Thomas Frank and wondering whether he's maybe going to send some subs out, whether he's going to risk keeping Lewis Potter on, because I do think it's a risk in this moment in time. 24 minutes gone. And Forest are just starting to get the bit between the teeth down both sides, getting those wide players involved, and can't help but feel that you need to save Lewis Potter from himself at the moment.
Here comes Ada again, looking to go down the right-hand side. Looks to play an early ball to Alanga. He's going to get there at the second attempt after shrugging off the attention of Visser. Here's Alanga. Now he's going to run Lewis Potter, and he does inside the penalty area. Tried to skip through the pair of them, but in the end, there was a decent bit of defending to help him out on this near side from Yarmulke. And they get it back into the penalty area, Forest, with Anderson. And here's Yates on this near side. I think Anderson felt he was clipped then. Alanga will slip it down the line. Anderson at the byline, gets a crossover. Wood tries to go for it. It's over the top of his head, but it's hacked back into the danger zone by Brentford. And now a chance may be for Wood, but Flecken in the end will stretch up his arms. And the advantage that he has with his reach means he can gather it at the edge of the 6-yard box.
Well, initially he looked to play that quickly, Flecken. Then I think he just stops. Very much thinks better of it, and that's the right decision, because they're under pressure now, Brentford. It took them a while, Forest, to get into this game, but they certainly have now, and that calmness that we normally see with Brentford, it's just so chaotic, and that's credit to Nottingham Forest and the way that they've grown into the game and making it difficult now for Brentford.
Well, no goals so far, but what a terrific game of football at the City Ground live here on Talksport 2 on Premier League Live. It remains Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 0. Over halfway come Brentford, who've certainly matched up to Forest in the opening exchanges here. Now 25 minutes in, down this left-hand side. Schade back towards halfway, where it's picked out by Norgard. Lovely ball to the right-hand side, stretching play, ball in towards, and Mbeumo gets a touch on it. Visser was preparing the shot, and if anything, and Mbeumo's touch just took it away from him. They'll still continue down that right-hand side to try and win possession, but on this occasion, it's a foul by Damsgaard and a free kick for Forest in the left-back position on the far side of the City Ground.
And I do wonder if Visser gave the shout or not, or whether it's just one of them. Sometimes the ball comes near you and Mbeumo, whether it's just almost a bit of a reflex reaction, try and get on the ball. But you're right, Visser was in a much better position. He was winding up for the volley and gets taken off his toes by his teammate.
Choice of listening coming up across the Talksport network. We're a couple of minutes away from kickoff over on Talksport at 8 o'clock. Athletic Bilbao against Manchester United in that Europa League first leg semi-final. That's the 400th Talksport network commentary of the season. That's about to get underway on Talksport. On the Talksport app, you can listen to Spurs against Bodo Glimt in the Europa League semi-final first leg as well. If darts is your thing, head to the Talksport YouTube channel, our darts YouTube channel, because the Premier League tonight taking place in Birmingham. And of course, you could just stay right here on Talksport 2 and enjoy what's been a cracking Premier League game so far that remains 0-0. If you are, by the way, heading on the app to listen to the Spurs game, don't forget to look at some of the videos as well on our New Look app. Danny Murphy gives a fairly damning verdict on Martin Odegaard that's worth checking out after his performance against PSG on Tuesday night in that Champions League semi-final. Here's Flecken for Brentford then, away to the right-hand side, launching it forward, right-footed, up over halfway into the lovely summery evening sky at the City Ground. Good play from Nico Williams, who's continued his run forward. Nico Williams towards the edge of the penalty area, tries to lay it into the wood, but the pass is blocked. Right-footed ball to the far post, and Langer's there with a header, back across the face of goal. Wood will nod it up and over and behind, and out of play for what will be a goal kick to Brentford. And again, there's much fury. I feel the final touch there may have come off Van den Berg, but in the end, Darren England only awarding the goal kick to Brentford.
It's a lot better from Forest, though. The way they're moving the ball a lot more quickly, finding those wide areas, finding the danger player in Alanga, who, for me, has been Forest's best player so far. Wonderful ball into him, does the right thing, heading it back across into the danger area, whether it be Ruders, Morgan Gibbs-White as well, he's arriving. If Wood can get anything on that, and no wonder Forest are so upset, because it does look like it should have been a corner.
You have to go back to 1987-88 when Forest had this many points in the top division before. Back then they had 63 points from their 33 games. Tonight with victory it would be 63 from 34, and then just 4 to play. What it would do, as we said earlier, is move them up into third, and with 4 games to play, their destiny is their own. Win those 4 games, it's Champions League ahoy next season for Nottingham Forest. There's a foul on Gibbs-White just short of halfway. Christian Norgard the perpetrator on this occasion, and it's a free kick for Forest from just inside their own half. 29 minutes played, it remains 0-0. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Forest have got a problem. I'm just seeing Dominguez below us. He's just put his shirt on, looks like he's potentially getting his boots and ready in his shin pads, so sort of not really seen anything that would equate to an injury, or whether it's tactical, who knows, but he does look ready to come on.
Well, we know that Elliot Anderson is a player who's already been booked, of course, unless Nuno has maybe taken the approach that we thought Thomas Frank might take when it came to Keane Lewis Potter. Out wide on this right-hand side, here's Alanga on the charge. Ball at feet. Sharda's there to try and block him off. Goes infield to Ola Aina, and now Anderson, right-footed ball, swung towards that back post, looking to try and find the head as ever of Wood, or at least allow him to get on a second ball. Nico Williams picks up the loose ball at the edge of the penalty area, goes back to Hudson-Odoi on his right foot, swings it to the back post. Alanga's there, but Anderson wins the first header. It's half cleared to the edge of the penalty area, and Forest are hemming everyone inside the Brentford half, and Milenkovic will pick it up once more as they look to apply pressure. Ryan Yates to the right-hand side. Aina's found a gap and he's run through the middle. Tries to play the pass to Alanga. Alanga's not quite going to get there, but Forest will have the corner on this right-hand side.
And I think he was debating it, Ilanga. I think if he really turned on the burners, he probably could have got there, but knows it's going out for a corner. In terms of when you're running that quickly at the byline, trying to get the ball in, and sometimes it's not the best idea. So lets it go out for the corner and just waiting to provide a better quality ball in the box from the corner.
I think Nuno has just for a moment told the fourth official to hang fire on this potential change. You are right though, Dominguez is getting himself ready down below. Corner down the right hand side to be taken by Anthony Alanga for Nottingham Forest. Swings it in and it's headed away that time by Van den Berg. Out as far as Odoi, left edge of the penalty area on his right foot. Tries to work a chance, comes to Nico Williams, who'll look to switch play to this near side again. Alanga there once more. Has support, but left-footed plays the ball towards that back post, and it's over the top of everyone and out of play for a goal kick to Brentford away to our right-hand side.
All credit to Brentford though, they've made that really difficult. In terms of the first phase, when Forest are getting it out into the wide areas quickly, they're not making that, but then what they do is they know, right, we're not going to make that first phase, we're not going to get dragged down, create gaps, so we're going to get really compact and really narrow and make sure we win the second and third phases, and they've actually done that really well.
More Premier League football for you tomorrow night live on Talksport. More exclusive action, this time from the Etihad. Manchester City taking on Wolves tomorrow evening. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night, and then of course Premier League action for you on Saturday lunchtime. Aston Villa against Fulham, another game that affects the race for these Champions League places, as the Manchester City Wolves one is tomorrow night. That's a 12:30 kickoff Saturday lunchtime from Villa Park. On the far side, and Mbeumo with the ball at feet, brilliant skill, cuts inside, then looks to play a little pass to Damsgaard on this occasion, or Norgard in fact, but it's cut out, and Aina will have it down the right-hand side. And Forest just feeling their way into this game a little more now. Alanga, they're certainly having the better of the last 10 minutes or so as they try and skip down this left-hand side past Visser, but Visser does well, just evades Gibbs-White. Sharda's made the run through the middle between the two centre-halves. Sharda's still going, but Milenkovic and Murillo, as they have so many times this season between the two of them, cover off any danger for Forest. Here's Anderson, and Mbeumo's tracking him all the way. Hudson-Odoi out wide on that left-hand side. Gives the ball back first time to the feet of Nico Williams, who just steps inside, and Mbeumo now goes wide again to the left. Hudson-Odoi on a charge towards the edge of the penalty area. He's got Williams inside of him. Switches play to Gibbs-White, who's 25 yards out from goal. On his right foot, gives it to Alanga. Alanga on this near side. On his left foot, thinks about delivering an early cross. Goes back to Ola Aina. They'll try and work it now down this right-hand side. Gibbs-White makes a good run to the byline. Across the goal. Comes off of Van den Berg and the goalkeeper, and out of play on the far side. What will be a throw to Forest by the corner flag.
Great work by Forest. It's patient but purposeful, penetrative in terms of that run from Gibbs-White, and the weight of pass from Alanga for the ball was exceptional. As you mentioned, it's only Van den Berg that's there to make that deflection. It could have gone anywhere in all fairness. He almost just flicks a leg out at it, and maybe a little bit fortunate Brentford that doesn't cause more problems than it did.
Brentford have it on the far side as Forest have messed up that throw in a little. They've gathered possession now though. Yates 30 yards out from goal. Here's Ola Aina again, switching it to the right-hand side. Alanga with a chance to run here at Keane Lewis Potter on his left foot. Pings it to the far side, looking for Hudson-Odoi. Not enough on it though, and easily defended this time by Mbeumo. Now it's to Gibbs-White, edge of the box. Just, I think, tried to draw a foul or two with that little run. Keeps it going though. Far side, chips it over the top. Anderson's continued his run into the penalty area, but too much on it from Gibbs-White, and out of play for a goal kick to Brentford away to our right-hand side. 34 minutes on the clock at the City Ground. You listen to Talksport 2, and it's Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 0.
Yeah, it's a good run from Anderson, and I like that from midfielders. When they make that run from deep, it's so difficult to pick up, and Brentford now just need to take a moment to try and keep the ball. They've been camped in their own half. I say their own half, it was almost their own box, really. It was backs to the wall, just making sure they're doing anything to keep the ball out of the back of the net, and they've got a little bit of respite now, but fair credit to Forest. The last 5 or 10 minutes they've been excellent and really put the pressure on Brentford.
You're listening to Nottingham Forest against Brentford on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van. Long ball over the top, trying to find Sharda, which is what we've seen more of from Brentford in the last few minutes, with Forest exerting a little authority on the game. Here's Alanga out wide on this right-hand side. In short to Anderson. Whatever the issue was for Dominguez to potentially come on seems to have gone away, because Forest are having a good spell, and maybe Nuno feels a change isn't necessary right now. Yates up towards Wood. He's beaten to it by Van den Berg, and I mean, so far Wood has been well shepherded by Collins and Van den Berg. Here's Flecken inside his own area, short to Van den Berg again, and they're so calm in possession at the edge of their own box. It's then given away by Mbeumo, who catches Hudson-Odoi, and that will be a free kick for Forest just inside the Brentford half.
That's just frustration, I think, from Mbeumo. He's trying to win the ball, doesn't get there. You can tell, normally, when Brentford play on that counter-attack, he's the one. It's almost like a blind ball. They just go, the ball goes into him, but for the last 5 or 10 minutes, he's barely touched the ball, and that loose touch gets away from him, and then just doesn't get enough of the ball. Too much of Hudson-Odoi, and gets a yellow card for his troubles.
Yep, yellow card, another one in the book. That's 4 already in this game. 3rd of the season for Ryan Mbeumo. As we said, 18 goals, contracted till 2026 with a year option as well for Brentford. But as we know, in the past, they've been a selling club, and they do it very, very well. Whether they'll choose to cash in on him and Visser, we shall see. I suspect there'll be plenty of other suitors around the Premier League. That's a ball to the back post, looking for Alanga, who keeps it alive. It's gathered by Flecken away to our right-hand side. An early goal in the Europa League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for Sam Ellar.
The perfect start for the home side. Spurs 1, Bodo Glimt 0. Brennan Johnson is the goal scorer. Crossing from Pedro Porro from the right-hand side. Richarlison wins the head. It goes back across goal, and Johnson heads home. Spurs 1, Bodo Glimt 0.
And commentary continues, of course, on the Talksport app. If you haven't got that yet, get it downloaded for all the great stuff. You can start scrolling, you can start swiping, you can see the tabs on the commentary, and there's a coming together here in the centre circle. And now a few more players choosing to get involved. It was all fairly uncomfortable for a little moment or two between, I think, Yum Elliott, who was the player initially involved. Gibbs White as well, just being held back there by Visser. And Darren England, I think, is going to have the conversation with the captains in particular, just to say, calm it down, lads.
Yeah, and I think it's the way that Yarmulke there sort of stood over the Forest player. Not quite sure who it was.
I think it's Ryan Yates.
Yeah, and it's just, that's to say, I think the way that he stood over him, that body language, I think that's why a few Forest players there just took a little bit of exception to the way that he did that. And again, because, you know, we've mentioned it, that it's been a great game to watch. It's been high energy, it's been chaotic, there's been sort of fouls all the way throughout, and it keeps bubbling over, and it's threatening to descend into chaos any minute.
Well, it looks like Yarmulke almost kind of stumbled over the legs of Yates, who was on the floor, and seemed to take exception to it. But all sorted now, back underway. Brentford have it, edge of their own penalty area. 6.5 minutes remaining in the first half here on Talksport 2. It remains 0-0. Spread ball to the right-hand side, and Mbeumo's on the charge, gets it right by the corner flag, tries to go round Nico Williams. Both of them end up on the floor. The assistant in close proximity says it's all well and good, carry on. And in the end, the ball out of play for a throw on that far side for Forest, right by the corner flag.
He does really well there, Nico Williams. He's not slow by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not quite as fast as Mbeumo, but does well. He cuts off his angle for him. He takes the inside line, which shortens the amount of that he has to run. So he's clever, because he knows he's not going to match Mbeumo stride for stride, and then when he gets the opportunity, just sticks the foot in, makes the tackle, and does really well.
Really good game of football this. No quarter arse, none given by either side in the opening exchanges here. Another late challenge that the referees paid the advantage for. It was on Gibbs White this time. Aina has it over halfway on this near side for Forest. I wonder if he'll go back and maybe have a look at that. Doesn't have to caution, of course, as he's played the advantage. Here is Gibbs White down that left-hand side. Oh, lovely slip ball through towards the edge of the penalty area. Anderson was trying to get his feet in order and get the ball away to Chris Wood, but in the end he couldn't get there. Gibbs White does brilliantly to win it back midway inside the Brentford half. Now here's Anderson inside the penalty area. Right-footed shot, just tried to steer it into this near corner, and it's gathered low down to his left by Flecken.
Yeah, does the right thing. He's trying to go across the goalkeeper, find that bottom right-hand corner, but I think it just gets a little bit stuck under his feet, and that means that he can't generate the power that he wants to in the shot to beat Flecken.
Goals against Spurs and Southampton already this season for Elliot Anderson. Took a while to keep going. Never actually scored in the Premier League in his time at Newcastle before his £35 million move. Fourth official deep in conversation again with the Brentford bench about some of the challenges in this game. Thomas Frank gesticulating with his right hand where he wants the ball played by Yarmouk. And in the end he goes back to Van den Berg midway inside his own half, away to our right hand side. 4.5 minutes remaining. It's Premier League Live on Talksport 2. It remains Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 0 from the City ground. A reminder, Saturday afternoon around the grounds from 2:30. Real focus on the League 1 and League 2 relegation and promotion issues that need solving. On the charge, left-footed ball in that time from Mbumo towards Visser at the edge of the 6-yard area. Couldn't quite get his shot away on target. And that ball's hit the corner flag and gone out for a throw on that far side. And now the ball has finally gone out of play. There is a yellow card being shown in the direction of Christian Norgard.
I'll be absolutely astonished if this finishes 11v11. So many cautions out on the pitch now, and the referee, to be fair, makes the right decision. We know how quickly Morgan Gibbs White moves the ball, manipulates it, uses his body ever so well, and he just draws Damsgaard into the challenge there.
In the book, going to be a throw on the far side, and it is a long throw, and it's something that Coyote has in his locker, and he's launched that one. It has to be palmed away by Searles out for a corner. It's a terrific throw from Coyote, dealt with at the near post by Searles, and he had 3 or 4 around him. If anything, probably Milenkovic getting in his way.
That's what you want from your goalkeeper. He's commanded his area, and whether it's the opposition or your own play, you've just got to come through him and do your job, and that's exactly what Searles did.
3 minutes to go to half-time. 0-0 it remains. Only goal in our European games, which kicked off at 8 o'clock. That's come at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs are in front. That game live on the Talksport app right now. Get it downloaded. You will need it, I promise you. Left-footed corner swung over, headed back across goal by Collins, and away this time from the edge of the penalty area by Hudson-Odoi. Langer was trying to sneak in, and maybe he'll get a chance from inside his own half, and Langer can't quite get there. Collins has made his way back and intercepts the ball from Hudson-Odoi, which was probably 2 or 3 yards too far to the right on that occasion.
Although if that lands right for Elanga, you know what happens. He's got that electric pace that'll beat all of those defenders back there. I think it's just quite fortunate. Collins as well, don't get me wrong, he's positioned well, but it was just the ball into Elanga wasn't quite into his path the way that he needed it to be.
Brentford with possession, just over halfway, given away straight to the feet that time of Yates, who just tried to knock it forward to Wood, but again the pass just slightly off the radar, not quite finding its intended target this time. 90 seconds plus stoppage time remaining at the end of the first half. Long ball over the top. Sharda's in here, maybe easy. Oh, Aina slipped over. Kevin Sharda. It's Route 1 football from Brentford that's not been dealt with by Nottingham Forest. And Brentford are in front. And it's Kevin Sharda who scores for the visitors. And it's horrendous defending from Ola Aina on his return to the team. A ball that easily should have been dealt with. And it's a first goal in 9 in the Premier League for Kevin Sharda. And our Forest's Champions League dreams going up in smoke tonight at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1.
Well, this is out of absolutely nowhere. There's no movement. It's not really dynamic. It's just, as you say, a Route 1 ball. Aina doesn't deal with it. I think he slips over in the process. think Murillo's in and about, but it's too easy how Nottingham Forest get caught here with one long ball. And Sharda does well. Don't get me wrong, he gets a bit of fortune. His first touch actually lets him down, but it almost helps him because Aina comes across, he slips. He's got the presence of mind then just to slot it past the goalkeeper. And yeah, that goal was out of nowhere against the run of play, but it doesn't matter. It's 0-1 to Brentford.
The outstretched arms of Nuno Espirito Santo and the muttering as he makes his way back into the dugout say it all. He does not understand how Brentford have managed to score from that position against a side who usually eat that kind of thing up like meat and drink, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and it's decent movement from Sharda, don't get me wrong. He comes on the blind side, but I think they'll be more upset about the ball, the fact that there was no pressure on the ball whatsoever. So when that happens, the defence have to drop, and they didn't, Forest. They just watch the ball over them and then get caught with a poor defensive moment.
2 added minutes at the end of the first half here on Talksport 2. Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1, and well, Forest aren't the best when they fall behind. I think it's safe to say they've won 4 points this season from losing positions. 7 of 8 games where they've fallen behind, they've gone on to lose. So there's work to be done here for Nuno and his side. The last thing they want is this game in hand to fall by the wayside and find themselves outside those Champions League spots when they've been stuck in there for the last 3 or 4 months and dominated that 3rd or 4th place race. Now, as it stands, they find themselves level with Chelsea on points, but they're outside that top 5. Yes, there's still 4 games to go, and they do have a relatively decent run, you'd feel, with Palace on Monday, Leicester then to come, already relegated, West Ham woefully out of form, and who knows, that game against Chelsea last day of the season may yet prove to be pivotal for Nottingham Forest and their Champions League hopes. Here's Van den Berg, 10 yards inside his own half, just clips the ball forward. That was Collins in the end, I think, who did that. Van den Berg had just stepped out. Ola Aina is just caught on this near side again by Sharda. The goal scorer goes back to Van den Berg, just stepping in to make that extra man in midfield for a moment. Right-footed ball from Collins out to that far side, and Bumo takes it down, but Murillo's there to sweep up the good work done by Nico Williams, which denied the Cameroon international a chance to break away. Yates has just tried to flick that on towards Gibbs-White, given away, picked up by Norgard. Now Sharda down this left-hand side, edge of the penalty area. Yarmuluk gets it infield, and now a chance maybe for Damsgaard to bend one, and it's just wide, high and wide of the left-hand post of Matt Sells, and that will be the final action of a pulsating first half at the City ground, and it's the home supporters who look glum as we head towards the break. The goal from Kevin Sharda, a long ball over the top, indecision at the back, Aina slipped over, and Sharda did very well. It was a tight finish, centre of the goal, and he slipped it past Sells despite the attention of the 2 Forest defenders, and it's that goal which separates these 2 sides at half-time, Courtney. And it was a tight, tense first half. Brentford started so well in the game, but at the moment that they scored, you just didn't see it coming.
No, and look, as you say, brilliant for the neutral to watch. It was chaotic, it was frantic. There's been really good moments of play as well, but that ball's out of nowhere. It's just a long ball from Nathan Collins, and as I've just mentioned, the fact that there's absolutely no pressure on the ball from Nottingham Forest from that forward line means that Murillo, Milenkovic, Aina, they've got to drop. And it's far too easy just for a long diagonal ball. Yes, Sharda does well because he comes off the back of Milenkovic and comes across. Aina's then trying to come and track back. He slips. And in that moment, yes, he shows composure really well, Kevin Sharda. And especially, you mentioned he's not scored in 9. So sometimes when you're presented with an opportunity like that, when you've not scored for a while, your mind can get the better of you. But slots it really well. But I think Nottingham Forest will be really disappointed because, yes, Brentford had the better start. But I think for the majority of this first half, Forest were the better side. They couldn't find the deadlock. But you mentioned it, Adam, in terms of they're not great from coming back from losing position. I think they've only got 4 points this season, Forest, from losing position. So, yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle now for them.
The only thing you probably goes to them is the fact that Brentford aren't particularly good at keeping clean sheets either. So there probably will be opportunities. Obviously, a point would take them back inside the top 5, but they've been so good at home. winning here and winning that game in hand is so important. Is the pressure of that? Can you see it in the way they maybe started the game and the way they played?
Yeah, maybe. You mentioned that, the home form has been really good. I think they've only lost one in the last 10, so they will have the confidence that, yes, we're great at home. You're right to mention that Brentford, rarely keep clean sheets, so they'll feel they can make the way back into it. But I think there's two sides to it. Yes, there's that pressure. There's obviously the hangover from Wembley as well. That won't help. And I think as the half went on, as Forest were having more possession but weren't scoring, I do feel that there was a bit of nervousness, not just with the players, but in the crowd as well, in that feeling of, just why have we not got this over the line? Why are we not converting these opportunities? And as well, because of the frantic nature of the game, I think it just left it wide open at times.
Well, it was a cracking opening 45 minutes here, and at half-time, it is Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1. Let's find out what's happening in those European games that got underway at 8 o'clock this evening elsewhere across the Talksport network. And I think we've got a goal in the game between Your Gordon and Chelsea. Ian Abrahams.
We have 18 minutes gone as Your Gordon 0, Chelsea 1. An average start by Enzo Maresca's side, but ahead in the 13th minute, Enzo Fernandez on the right-hand side with a ball across the box for Jadon Sancho. In on his right foot. It should have been cleared off the line by a defender, but it wasn't. And Sancho scores the opening goal of the game. Your Gordon 0, Chelsea 1.
And last time, of course, we were with Sam Allard. Spurs were leading the way against Bodo Glimt with an early goal in that game as well. Still goalless between Athletic Bilbao and Manchester United. That game, of course, live over on Talksport. The Spurs game is via the Talksport app, and we'll update you on all those goals around Europe when we return in a few moments' time, of course. And we'll be back with the second half as well from the City Ground here, where at half-time here on Talksport 2, it is Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the EFL.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream more Sky Sports football than ever before. Available with no contract on now. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
The best seat in the house is no longer in the house. It's outside with the sound of birds chirping overhead. The best table isn't in the house either, or pillow, or outdoor lighting, or sun lounger. But you knew that already. Visit IKEA online or in store to level up your outdoors this summer. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. So don't get stuck behind a sea of brake lights that grinds your day to a halt. Why waste your time when we can zip to you and you can stay on your job? Screwfix Sprint cuts through the congestion to get you what you need fast. More time working, less traffic frustration. Screwfix Sprint, delivering in as little as 20 minutes. Just $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
A Minecraft movie has arrived in McDonald's Happy Meal. Help your little ones build their own adventure. Explore the overworld and meet exciting new friends. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 6th of May from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. While stocks last, fair ordering policy applies. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Fired up and raring to go.
Oh, and he's found the net!
Football commentary forged in fire and brimstone.
Brilliant strike.
This is Game Night on Talksport 2.
Welcome back to a rainy City ground. I'm not too sure what's happened to our sweltering warm sunshine, but it's absolutely chucking it down at half-time here, where it's Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1. The other scores at the moment: Spurs 1, Bodo Glimt 0. That game live on the Talksport app. Get it downloaded now. Check out some of the great video content. You can obviously watch Talksport as well on there, of course, and on your smart TV, etc. Athletic Bilbao 0, Manchester United 0. That game live on Talksport. A reminder, both those started at 8 o'clock tonight. In the Conference League, it's Your Gordon 0, Chelsea 1. And the other Conference League semi-final tonight, Real Betis 1, Fiorentina 0. As I mentioned, Spurs in action right now against Bodo Glimt in the Europa League semi-final. That game is on the Talksport app, where it's currently 1-0. Domestically, they're in 16th place in the Premier League and need 8 points from the remaining 4 games to avoid their lowest ever Premier League points tally of 44. That was set back in 97-98. Now, manager Ange Postecoglou has been under huge pressure this season, and on kick-off earlier in the week, Adrian Durham, Darren Lewis and Danny Murphy discussed his future at the club.
If they win it, it's a big if, but if they win it, is that going to be enough for him to keep his job?
I think he will leave.
So do I. Okay. And who takes over?
I actually think Thomas Frank is a good fit for that club. He's functional.
He's really
He's
good.
organised. He's done a superb job at Brentford. It actually feels disrespectful to Postecoglou to be talking about replacements while he's still in the job, but
mate, he's got no problem
realities.
being disrespectful to us, so don't have any qualms about that whatsoever.
What's he on about? 5 million a year?
He stands up for himself.
Come on.
But I just think, as far as the situation is concerned, it does sadly look to be untenable. My sadness, I'll just confess to this sadness. You can hit me over the head for this. I like him as a coach. But if he was a pal of yours, you'd text him and say, don't get involved in all the fights as often as you do, because you don't need to, you know.
Well, fascinating conversation between these two. So the Mirror's Darren Lewis believes that Ange's time at Spurs will come to an end this summer, even if they win that Europa League, naming Thomas Frank as a potential successor. Well, here's a reminder of what Thomas Frank said about his future when he sat down with Talksport's Jim White earlier in the season.
Some would claim that Brentford are an established top-flight club now. How do you feel about that? Is there ever a moment in a day you think, maybe I've taken Brentford as far as we can go?
Who knows? Maybe not. But the ambition is always to want to be better, always to want to improve. We have talked about it a lot of times. I've said it many times that I think we are still the club with the 3rd, 4th, 5th lowest budget. So money is not everything, but it's something. Definitely on strategy, structure, planning, coaching, culture. On those aspects, we're very good. And that's given us so far 4 seasons in the Premier League, and now it sounds like we only want to stay in the Premier League or survive. It's never that. We always want to thrive and get better and add layers. I always believe that we can add more, but of course there's probably a limit how far we can go, but who knows? I've said many times I'm very happy at Brentford. Who knows what will happen in the future? Maybe I'll stay here for many years. I'm open. Maybe something happen. But first and foremost, very happy. Just working very hard every day to try to make the club better.
I'm not jumping on it, but to a degree I will. You're very happy here, but open to something else happening further down the line.
That's because it's very difficult to predict the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows what will happening. And how many coaches have been in the same club more than 6 years? Very few. So just the nature of the game, let's put it that way.
Thomas Frank speaking to Jim White earlier in the season. Don't forget, White and Jordan, you can watch him every morning from 10 o'clock. And if you're into your boxing, earlier on this week, of course, they had Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois in the studio. If you head to the Talksport app, there's a cracking video when Usyk asked Frank Warren to buy him a Bentley if he beats Dubois when they fight this coming summer. The video's there, worth having a look at on the Talksport app. So Thomas Frank then, Courtney. I mean, look, Brentford are in a position where if it stays as it is tonight, they'll go within 2 points of Fulham. They play Fulham on the 18th. An 8th spot, if Manchester City were to win the FA Cup, could well mean, and Newcastle finish in the top 7, which they will do. 8th could be a conference spot. Would that be enough, do you think, European football, to keep Thomas Frank happy at Brentford?
Good question. I
took long enough to get there.
Yeah, I think so for now. There's no doubt he is a wonderfully talented manager, and obviously in the job that we have, we get to be in close quarters, and he's always very giving with his time and his answers, and very respectful. I think he has a good thing going at Brentford at the moment in terms of the relationship he has, the metrics that they use, the way that they're trying to reinvent the club. Is that enough for him? Maybe in 2, 3, 4 years, maybe not. I think, and he mentioned it there, there'll be a point where he feels like he can't take this squad any further. I still think he has room to grow in this role. Maybe in 2, 3, 4 years, maybe that changes. Or I suppose the thought process, if it's a big club knocking comes now, how many times do you get that opportunity if you turn it down? And they're the things you have to think about.
Well, a lot of people thought he should have been one of the names that was in the frame for Manchester United, given the kind of job he's done at Brentford. Do you think he would be a good fit at Spurs? Darren Lewis says, yes, I think he'd be an excellent fit. The one thing you could say about Spurs is they like a manager who wants to play attractive football. I think a lot of the time Brentford are pragmatic. They are attacking. They do concede a lot of goals as well. Yeah, and I think he's adaptable, though. I think you see when they come up from the Championship into the Premier League, they were, they changed. They were more pragmatic to stay in the Premier League. And I think when you're talking about fits as well, yes, don't get me wrong, Spurs have got more money than Brentford, but they still like to try and live within their means. They're not a Manchester United, a Man City, a Chelsea that are going to go and spend millions and millions and millions, comparatively against those big clubs. So, in terms of developing players, getting the best out of the players they've got, using those metrics to find, diamonds in the rough, let's say, I think Thomas Frank would be a good fit in that sense. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens come the summer. I suspect if they ended up selling Mbumo and Visser, that may well help make his mind up in many ways. We are going to see a change for Forest at half-time. We did catch Callum Hudson-Odoi ripping some tape off the back of his leg and looking rather frustrated at half-time. And it looks like they've given him enough time to try and run the problem off, because Dominguez, who's been waiting for about 20 minutes, is ready to come on. The Forest players are out there. Now, whether Nuno's punishing them for that first half performance, because it's pelting down, there's a bit of lightning outside as well, and they're out waiting for the arrival of Brentford players. There is also Rico Henry about to come on, and I have a feeling he's coming on to replace Keane Lewis Potter as well.
Yeah, and I saw actually a little interaction between Nathan Collins and Lewis Potter when they were coming off for half time, and Nathan Collins sort of puts his arm round him, and I think Lewis Potter knew his time was up today, and I think it's the clever thing to do. We don't want a situation where this game's being won or lost in terms of players being sent off. I mean, quite conceivably on another day it probably could be 10v10 at this point, so I think it's clever from Thomas Frank.
Yeah, Rico Henry returning, of course, to full fitness. He had that terrible injury in September 2023. He did return against Man City in January, but went away again and actually played about 20 minutes, I think, against Brighton and Hove Albion the other week. So he's out there to continue his rehabilitation and also to try and cover up a little bit for the fact that there was a threat maybe of having a man sent off, because Keane Lewis Potter was having a torrid time against Elanga and co on this near side. So we're back underway then, start of the second half. You're listening to Talksport 2. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1. That goal just before half-time from Kevin Sharder. So we'll run you through the lineups in a moment, taking into consideration the couple of changes, one for each of them at half-time in this second half. Good play by Nico Williams to win the ball down this left-hand side. Finds Elliot Anderson now for Forest, midway inside the Brentford half. He's got Williams going outside him again. Elanga is lurking now on this left-hand side. Elanga goes back to Murillo. Murillo then infield to Milenkovic. And it's picked up by Yates, who has support of the substitute Dominguez, wearing 16 on his back, one of the players who was left out from the semi-final lineup on Sunday today. And out wide on that right-hand side again, Gibbs White there. Here's Aina. Right-footed ball, looks to probe early from the edge of the penalty area. And it's half cleared away by, on that occasion, Norgard. Comes out again down that right-hand side to Aina. Aina towards the byline. Looks to get the crossover, which he does. It spins out of play and it will be a goal kick away to our left-hand side. So, Forest now lining up with Sells in goal. Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams across the back. It's Yates and Anderson in midfield, with Dominguez, with Elanga and Gibbs White providing the support to Chris Wood. As for Brentford, Flecken in goal, Coyote, Collins, Vandenberg and Henry, with Norgard and Yarmoliuk in midfield, and Bremo, Damsgaard and Sharder supporting Visser. The goal scorer, of course, was Sharder towards the end of that first half. Rain absolutely lashing down here as Manchester United take the lead against Athletic Bilbao on the half-hour mark. Casemiro, the goal scorer for Manchester United. That game live right now on Talksport, which of course you could listen to if you had the app. You could swipe between this game and that game, and also the game between Spurs, which is on the Talksport app as well this evening. Ball out of play on this near side for what will be a throw into Brentford from midway inside their own half. 2.5 minutes in, and these are wretched conditions. If we thought the conditions earlier were bad because it was hot, this is awful.
It's literally from the extreme to the other, isn't it? And I wonder if it will play a part in the game as well now. The surface a little bit more slick, especially the goalkeepers, when it goes from being so hot to this amount of rain quickly, the ball will be all over the shop. Damsgaard,
Coyote in this near side, tries to backheel it to Mbeumo. Doesn't pick it up. Flicked inside nicely. And controlled by Elanga. First time pass into the feet that time of Chris Wood. But again, Brentford can sweep it up. And it goes away to our left-hand side, and the ball comfortably at the feet of Flecken, who will look to launch this one forward. On this near side, Mbeumo has just been found with ease. Here's Coyote, infield he goes. Taken off the toes of Norgard by Gibbs White. Up to Chris Wood, who's offside. Chris Wood not really got into the game at all.
Yeah, you've taken the words out of my mouth there. We've hardly mentioned his name. In terms of in those wide areas when the balls have come in the box, he's done okay to compete, but those balls into his feet where he can set it off and play and bring others into play have been non-existent.
Well, here they come again down this left-hand side. Oh, good ball into space for Elanga. Lovely pass from Anderson. Here is Elanga, left-hand side of the box at the byline. Tries to pull it back and it's deflected and away in the end. Comes out to Anderson again, who left-footed just chips the ball up, looking for Wood, who was at the edge of the 6-yard box. Never enough height on that from that tight angle as well. And Brentford can break away. And Mbeumo, he's got 5 red shirts around him. And in the end, Yates is the one who takes him down. And it's going to be a free kick inside the centre circle for Brentford. I think Yates may have hurt himself a little in the process.
And he just clips the back of Mbeumo, doesn't he, while he's trying it. Like he's holding his head, Yates. I don't know whether, as he falls, there's a bit of a clash somewhere. But he's just taking his time. He's on his haunches at the minute. He certainly doesn't look comfortable.
No, it was an outstretched toe, I think. And then he's just looking at his head as well. Is he a tad dazed? I think they're all a bit alarmed by the weather conditions. Gibbs White is rubbing water away from his face right now. Well, summer was nice while it lasted, wasn't it, really?
We should know better, shouldn't we, in England? We'll get a couple of nice days and then that's it.
Well, I hope my family have put the garden furniture away if it's raining where I am. Here's the free kick inside the centre circle. And it's going to be lifted forward here by Mikael Damsgaard. Pace of the game just changed slightly here with the changing conditions, and that one just going to skip off the surface now and out of play away to our right-hand side. What will be a goal kick, and it will be taken by Matt Sells. One terrific save from him in the first half. Couldn't do anything to deny Kevin Sharder giving Brentford the lead, and that's where we stand right now. Victory, they will stay 11th, but they will close the gap to 2 points on those in 8th, and just a point behind those in 9th and 10th in the Premier League table. And already at this stage of the season, they've had more wins and scored more goals than they've ever managed before. So a terrific season all round already for Thomas Frank's side. Elanga gives that short. Anderson right for the ball. It's lifted in and evades everyone. It was probably a yard or so to the left of Wood, and as Gibbs White was arriving, it kind of dissected the pair of them and goes out and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a brilliant ball in. It's whipped. It's got bags of pace. It's just slightly behind Chris Wood, but I think this matchup now with Coyote and Elanga, I think Coyote is gonna have a few issues, because Elanga, we mentioned, he's got that pace, but he can go inside and out as well, so he's quite happy to go on the outside and whip it in with his left foot, or like we've seen just there, cut inside, and whether it's whipped in for a cross or try and shoot with the right foot. Definitely a different proposition than the first half, and Hudson-Odoi that he had to face.
Goals galore in the game over on Talksport right now. Athletic Bilbao 0, Manchester United 2. Bruno Fernandes from the penalty spot, and Danny Vivian sent off for Athletic Bilbao, who will now finish the game with 10 men. So Manchester United in the first leg of that Europa League tie, that semi-final, very much in control as things stand over on Talksport right now. Here's Mbeumo down this right-hand side in the penalty area. On his left foot, gets the shot away and skids off the surface, and Sells is low down to his left-hand side to make the save.
Yeah, he does well there, Sells, because, as I mentioned, the conditions can cause havoc, and the ball as well, it just dips just before it gets to the goalkeeper. But make sure he has his near post covered. He's got all his angles right, but Williams is struggling with Mbeumo.
There's Elanga away now. Coyote's covering him. Elanga down this left-hand side, cutting onto his right foot, edge of the penalty. He gets the shot away, and it's saved low down to his left-hand side by Flecken, who turns it round the post. What will be a corner for Nottingham Forest.
It's a great save, isn't it, by Flecken? You know exactly what Elanga wants to do here. Drive inside, get the shot off, and you can see he's just curling it back towards that right-hand far post, but Flecken just in the nick of time. It's a big palm out to the side.
He's no slouch, Coyote, and he kept up with Elanga, but then Elanga's movement inside causing the problems. Once more Flecken with an excellent save. Right-footed, Elanga gets it over the corner, headed up in the air, round the penalty spot. Marino just tries to divert it goalwards, but it was always looping quite comfortably into the arms of Flecken, away to our left-hand side. There's been another goal in the Europa League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for Sam Elard.
38 gone, Spurs 2, Bodo Glimt 0. It's another brilliant ball from Pedro Porro. He finds James Maddison, who makes a good run. His first touch is good, then he keeps his composure and slots past the goalkeeper. Johnson and Maddison on the score sheet for Spurs. 39 gone, they lead 2-0.
The game live, of course, on the Talksport app, along with plenty of other stuff, including that video with Troy Deeney, where he talks about how important it is for either Manchester United or Spurs to win that Europa League. We could be looking at an All-England final in that competition then, both in control of our semi-final first legs by 2-0. But this is Manchester United and Spurs we're talking about. We never take anything for granted. Left-hand side, Anderson, edge of the box, or just off the angle of the box, and it's infield. He goes to Nico Williams, then to the feet of Gibbs White. Anderson trying to shuffle the ball from right to left and get round Coyote, who does well to just shepherd the ball out of play, and it'll be a goal kick away to our left-hand side once more for Brentford. And Forest have started this second half well.
Yeah, they haven't, and as you'd expect, I think you saw the reaction, the goal they conceded from Nuno. He was very upset with it, arms aloft in the air, so I expect there's been a few words at half-time, but yeah, they've come out really well, especially down the left-hand side with Elanga. Now he's switched sides as well, but Coyote actually has dealt with him. Initially he gets caught, he gets too close to him, gets absolutely burned for pace, but now he's being really clever. He's giving him half a yard, and Nathan Collins is coming across as well, and it's making it easier because they're almost doubling up and bringing Norgard across as well.
They've only lost one of the 16 games they've played so far against teams in the bottom half of the table. Forest, 14 victories in those. It's where they've really garnered most of their points. There's Bit of discomfort for Schade on that far side. I think from the studs maybe of Milenkovic. Well, no, it wasn't the studs. Not too sure what Schade was complaining about. There was very little contact there.
Yeah, there was, but I think it's that sort of game now as well, because the referee's given as many cautions as he has. Any sort of foul, I think players from either side are going to appeal for it because they'll feel that they should get it.
Forest, of course, the kings of the 1-0. They've won 11 Premier League games so far this season by a goal to nil. They're going to have to come back in this one, though, because they trail Brentford. Left-footed ball, swung into the penalty area, looking for Collins, often Bumo, but couldn't quite get there. Schade now down this right-hand side. Gives it back to Norgard. Norgard swings the ball to the back post. Aina gets in with a sliding header, and then it's taken off their toes and almost breaks to Vandenberg at the edge of the box. But Forest will try and break. Dominguez tipping it out wide to this left-hand side. Nico Williams on the charge. Elanga's got the burners on in front of him. Dominguez onto Elanga, left-hand side. Cuts onto his right foot. Swings it over, but again, nothing doing. Edge of the 6-yard box, comfortably headed away. Yates then hits one, and well, it was just wide, and Flecken was very slow to move then as Yates struck that from about 25 yards out. It was high and wide, and it will be a goal kick. I'm not sure Flecken saw that too quickly.
No, he didn't. I think it comes for a lot of bodies. And if that's on target, I think Flecken's struggling because it just dips at the last moment from Yates. Luckily, the save for Flecken, it's high and wide past the post, but yet again, Forest do really well on the counter-attack. The movement, flooding the bodies forward. But Brentford equal to it in terms of busting the gut to make sure they get bodies back.
Well, there was an appeal for a penalty. I think it was an off-the-ball incident. Again, Darren England not interested. And now a yellow card has been shown. Darren England, just a moment of delay there for Flecken away to our left-hand side. And there is a lengthy conversation now. Not too sure why Darren England is saying we need to stop. Is he now saying we can continue? He is. I think for a moment they were checking penalty, but I think potentially there was an offside involved anyway. Eventually, we're off and running. And it's a long punt forward this time by Flecken. That goes out of play and straight into touch on that far side. And it will be a throw-in, which will be taken once more for Forest by Ola Aina. About 15 yards short of halfway. And he gets it down that far touchline. They're going to try and find Wood, who wins another throw. They've advanced about 20 yards forward on that far touchline. And again, Aina will have an opportunity to launch it forward for Forest. Goes short into the feet of Gibbs-White. Little flick from him. Little tug on the shirt that time on Ryan Yates. And now down this left-hand side, an opportunity here for Nico Williams. Short again, once more to the feet of Elanga. And now infield from Murillo. And Gibbs-White to the far side where Aina's waiting. Just allows the jump to be made by Rico Henry and then picks up the loose ball, heading away from the penalty area, but cutting infield again, Aina. Onto his left foot. Gives it short to Murillo. Here's Murillo picking it up from Milenkovic. Charges forward towards the edge of the penalty. Wood lay off to Gibbs-White. Clip over the top as Wood continued to run, but he's shepherded safely through to the arms of Flecken away to our left-hand side. There's been a goal in the Conference League for Ian Abrahams.
On a stroke of half-time, Gordon 0, Chelsea 2. Dewsbury Hall to Fernandez, who fed in Madueke, and he made it 2. Gordon 0, Chelsea 2.
Chelsea in control. And down this right-hand side, and Bumo charging forward, and the challenge comes from Nico Williams. And out of play it goes for what will be a corner on this near side for Brentford.
Just a Wunyi there. He's out, stripped off, ready to go. So the question is that a straight swap for Chris Wood, or is Nuno thinking he needs to switch it up? Will he have both of them on the pitch at the same time?
Well, Wunyi is ready to go. I think Manchester United have got a third. Elliot Anderson may be the player who is going to be coming off. Here's the corner, and Brentford really taking their time about everything at the start of this second half. Left-footed ball, swung towards the back post. Sells comes out and gets a hand on it. Not convincing, but enough. Coyote gets it back across, and it's headed out by Milenkovic in the 6-yard area, and it was an important intervention on that occasion from the Serbian. And their ball runs out of play on that far side, and it will be a throw for Brentford just inside their own half.
Still not making the substitution, though, Forest, or is it? Yeah, it's come in now.
Here is the change, and it is Elliot Anderson who will depart. Owoni coming on, and it's an attacking move, and I think a sign really that Nuno Espirito Santo knows what he needs, and I think he's just made the sign to Chris Wood to say two. They're going to play two up top.
Yeah, old school. Though it's not little and large this time, it's certainly two big men up top. But as well, Anderson being on that caution, I think that'll maybe be on the back of Nuno's mind as well. And it's interesting now to see how they'll set up. But more than likely, it's going to be the 4-4-2, isn't it? And I wonder, he's got a little bit more pace than Chris Wood, so he can maybe run in behind a little bit more and try and make it Nathan Collins and Vandenberg's life a little bit more difficult than it has been.
Only Premier League goal this season came against Wolves. He's only got one in his last 30 in the Premier League. Owoni, we'll see what he's got to offer today for Forest as they try and fight their way back in this game. 61 minutes played. You're listening to Premier League Live on Talksport 2. Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1. Here's Dominguez on that right-hand side. Ball across into the penalty area, headed behind by Norgard, and it gets them off their seats around the City ground. It's going to be a corner down this left-hand side, which Alanga will take.
Straight into the action as well. The substitute does really well, holds the ball up, plays it out to Dominguez on the right-hand side and bringing others into play.
Alanga prepares the delivery with his left foot. 5 red shirts inside the penalty area. Murillo is lurking right in the D. Dominguez and Nico Williams, the other options around the edge of the box too. Aina the furthest back. Here comes Alanga on this left-hand side. Real game of cat and mouse with Ryan Yates in and around the 6-yard area, and that's what referee Darren England wants to come and deal with. Not too sure there was anything too bad in it. There was no shoving or pulling over, just a bit of movement that was being dealt with by both. But Darren England having words with Yarmouk and Collins. And now Alanga can deliver, left-footed. Swung in and headed away by Collins. Excellent. Here's Gibbs-White, right-hand side of the box. Feeds it back. Dominguez curls one to the back post. Elanga was there, but it's Yates who nods it down almost into the path of Williams. And now Mbeumo tries to break away, but Williams will get there first, and the referee is giving a free kick. Yellow card's out again as well here, and for waving the yellow card, and it's gone in the direction of Ryan Yates, and then he's giving it to Nico Williams as well for handball. Well, I'm not too sure. Darren England is dishing them out like sweets here this evening.
Yeah, this is the problem though, isn't it? You know, early on in the game as a referee, you sort of set the tone, and once you start giving the cautions out for what he did, it continues. And he's right though, Nico Williams, quite clearly, it's a deliberate handball to try and stop the Brentford counter-attack. It's a good spot from the referee.
Well, we'll get confirmation on those yellow cards in a few moments or so. Here come Brentford to bring the ball away. 63 minutes on the clock. Still leading here by a goal to nil. You're listening to Nottingham Forest against Brentford on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Nottingham Forest versus Brentford, live right now. Search Now Sports. Gibbs-White, central area, finds Yates. Yates pushes it to that far touchline. Aina's there, 25 yards out from goal. Clips the ball in. Wood with a header, and it's a good opportunity. 8 yards out, you'd expect more from Chris Wood, and he puts it wide of Flecken's right-hand post.
Yeah, you really would. He doesn't have to jump for this. He barely gets off the ground. For me, I think that's got to be back across where it's come from. He just tries to flick it. He's in pretty much the middle of the goal, and he's trying to flick it to the left-hand post. I think he's got to get up, get a real good contact on it, back across Flecken, and he should do better with that one. That should be his 20th Premier League goal in the bag.
Yarmouk is the player that was booked for Brentford, and Nico Williams for the handball, of course, for Forest. Matthijs Jensen is ready to come on for Brentford down below. More fresh legs, 25 minutes remaining. You're listening to Talksport 2. Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 1. As things stand, Brentford closing the gap to 8th place to 2 points. Forest will stay 6th and outside those Champions League places. Coyote with a throw on this right-hand side. Level with a penalty spot. It's a looped one, that one. Takes a little deflection off Collins. There's a feels for handball, but out of play for a corner on this right-hand side. Not sure if the ball spun out of Coyote's hands with it being so wet. Didn't quite get the purchase that he's tried to get before. Going to be a corner to be delivered by Mbeumo on this near side. Jensen is ready to come on. Really taking their time with his set pieces in the second half. 25 minutes remaining. Brentford leading here by a 0-0. Left-footed, swung towards the back post, and it's headed away that time by Gibbs-White. Aina's going to get a second header now. Aina on that far side, looking to close down Sharda. Sharda has it by the corner flag. Oh, Sharda's done well. Gets inside Aina. Sharda's still going. Comes out to Mbeumo. And it's blocked at the edge of the 6-yard box that time by Yates. And then there's a foul surely on Elanga. And there is, and it's a free kick. And the referee waving his finger again. Well, down England, not having the best of nights.
No, and that's the problem now, because any time there's a foul committed, any time their player goes down, they're expecting a yellow card, and it's time for the substitution now. But you can hear the noise within the stadium, how high emotions and the energy are, and Elanga is absolutely fuming. He wants a yellow card for Coyote, and from what we've seen actually from the rest of the game, I sort of understand why.
Right, Matthias Jensen is coming on. Kevin Sharda is the player that's going off, and he's made his way off on that far side, so he's going to get plenty from the Forest fans in the Brian Clough stand, that's for sure. And the goal scorer is off. Jensen is on. And the ball punted forward by Murillo. Nicely, he finds Aina on the far side. That's a delicious pass. Oh, Aina's done brilliantly. Gets past the first man. Partially blocked by the second, but has the ball at feet on his left foot. Picks out Elanga at the back post, who tries to nod it into the danger zone in the 6-yard area, but Wood unable to quite get to it, and it's put behind by Collins for another corner.
He's done that so well tonight, Elanga, the way that he's peeled off in the back post area, headed things back across, but there's just been a Forest body there to tap it in.
Elanga again will try to deliver the set piece on this left-hand side for Nottingham Forest. Wood the obvious target, but Milenkovic has already got 4 goals himself this season. A real danger at set pieces for Nuno Espirito Santo's side. Left-footed, swung over. It's almost met by Murillo this time. Back into the danger zone by Yates. Edge of the 6-yard box. Collins wins a good header, clambering all over the back of Awani. And it comes down at the edge of the box to Dominguez, who just slides and fires it goalwards. And in the end, it's picked up by Flecken, who immediately looks to put Mbeumo out on this near side. That's a brilliant touch from Mbeumo. Steps away from Gibbs-White. Now needs support, which arrives from Damsgaard, who can't quite get there. He's intercepted on this near side. Then Nico Williams goes down, and the free kick is given quickly.
Wow, Mbeumo is brilliant how he plucks this out of the air, and as soon as Flecken gets that ball, both himself and Wissa straight away trying to play on the counter-attack. He finds Mbeumo in the end. Brilliant first touch, but then the ball inside just lets him down.
Reminder, it's half-time in those other games across the Talksport network. Athletic Bilbao against Manchester United in that Europa League semi-final is live on Talksport. United in complete control against the 10 men of Athletic Bilbao. They lead 3-0. On the Talksport app, Spurs are 2 up against Bodo Glimt in the other Europa League semi-final first leg. And Chelsea in control as well against York Ordiners. They lead 2-0 too. Aina down that right-hand side. Oh, he's just lost control of it. He got himself into a wonderful position where he could have crossed, but he went again, and the touch was too heavy, and the ball spins out of play for a goal kick.
He did. He just tried to do a little bit too much there. Ball out to him was excellent. He peeled off. And you want to try and get it at Rico Henry as well. We've mentioned he's not played many minutes this season, so you're thinking, right, let's really test him out. But so far, Forest and Aina on that right-hand side haven't really tested him too much.
20 minutes remaining here. Tomorrow night, another game that affects the chase for the Champions League spots. Manchester City against Wolves is live and exclusive to national radio on Talksport tomorrow night from 8 o'clock. Oh, here's Visser. Strikes off the first challenge. Visser in, and Visser scores. And it's 2-0 to Brentford. And they've been caught once more. and Visser gets the better of the ever-reliable Milenkovic and pops the ball into the bottom corner, and he delivers his 17th Premier League goal of the season. Johan Visser, and may well have put paid to Forest's hopes of Champions League football next season. The ever-dependable backline of Forest breached once more, and with 20 minutes remaining here, it's Nottingham Forest 0, Brentford 2.
It's another long ball. Nottingham Forest, Nuno Espirito Santo are going to be so disappointed with themselves because they've been caught out by the same issue. Now, Wissa, by the way, I want to talk about the good first because this finish is absolutely exceptional. It's obscene. The way that he just dips it over the goalkeeper, but it's Flecken this time. It was Collins last time with the long ball, whereas this time it's just a long one from the goalkeeper, Flecken. I think Mburmo goes up and tries to fight for the ball, get the flick on. Don't actually think it takes a touch off anyone. It's just the bounce that evades Milenkovic in the end, and then Wissa, brilliant. He's on sort of the edge of the 6-yard box, right at the apex of the corner, and just dinks it over Sells. It is a nonchalant finish.
A rub of the head from Nuno and a puff of the cheeks, and no wonder. Murillo, Milenkovic, been so good for him through this entire season. Ola Aina back tonight. He couldn't deal with the first one. This time looks like a kind of combination, because Murillo doesn't look like he goes for the ball. He just tries to keep Mburmo out the way, which allowed Milenkovic, in theory, to deal with it against Visser.
Yeah, exactly as I say, it's Mburmo. I like it when, forward players do that as well. We always say, even if you're not going to go and win the header, go and actually try and jump and make a nuisance of yourself, which Mburmo does there. As you say, Murillo doesn't deal with it well, neither does Milenkovic on the second phase. And what I like about Wissa, though, is he stays alive. He doesn't just think, it's a long ball, it's going through. He anticipates it. He makes sure he's in the right place at the right time. You do that 10 times in a game as a forward, and sometimes none come off, let alone one, but he's done so well there to keep himself alive. And then when he gets in the box, the finish is absolutely sublime.
Well, they're unbeaten in their last 3 Premier League games. They haven't gone 4 Premier League games unbeaten all season, but as things stand, they're heading that way now. 17 and a half minutes remaining here. And that chase for the Champions League moves on to the Etihad tomorrow night. Man City against Wolves. Wolves, of course, 6 straight wins in a row. Man City at home and finding some form. It's live on Talksport tomorrow night from 8. And then Villa, whose, chances of maybe sneaking in a little bit better if Forest don't win tonight. They're against Fulham on Saturday lunchtime. Again, that's live on Talksport. Here's Kayode down the right-hand side for Brentford. Onto his left foot, edge of the penalty area. Well, I think we've just seen why he's a very good right-back and not a winger or a centre-forward. He's cut in field with those long legs of his, and he's just swung his left boot the best he could. But it wasn't very good.
You saw the way that he hesitated for so long, and he's trying to get his stride pattern to throw his weaker foot at it, and he won't want to see that again. The build-up was good. He was driving inside, he cuts it in, but as soon as he starts to swing that left foot, you know what's coming.
We've seen better finishes, I think, for sure. A couple of changes coming here for Forest. No surprise, really. Sangare and Jota Silva will be coming on to add some fresh impetus as Nuno just looks down and studies his watch. He'll know that 16 minutes left to try and conjure something up from this game. Of course, a point would move them back into the top 5, but defeat just wasn't on the agenda this evening. Awani is losing possession, and it will be a throw for Brentford down this right-hand side. Here come those 2 changes now. And it's going to be, I think Ola Aina is probably the first who's going to come off. In fact, Morgan Gibbs-White is the first player to depart for Jota Silva. And Ola Aina will be replaced by Sangare. No surprise, really, about Ola Aina, given the fact that he's obviously just coming back from injury. He's done well probably to last as well as he has so far, you would say.
Yeah, and he's actually showed some good moments as well going forward on that right-hand side. Obviously, he's been caught for the first goal, unfortunate, the way he slipped. So it's not his best night by any stretch, but they'll be glad to have him back, no doubt, for the rest of the season.
Throw in for Forest down this left-hand side. Williams is going to take it midway inside the Brentford half, taken short to Sangare immediately. Now it's back once more with Sangare, right foot, trying to come forward into the feet. And the right-footed shots coming in immediately from Elanga from the edge of the penalty area, but quite comfortably saved in the end by Flecken. Brentford leading Nottingham Forest 2-0 here at the City Ground. And for the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get a Forest win at 70-1, whilst Brentford are 1-25 and the draw is 14-1. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18+, gambleaware.org. On that far side, they have possession again. Forest back inside their own half to Murillo. And Yates just dropping in between the two centre-halves to pick up possession. He's got Sangare alongside him now. Wide on that right-hand side, Jota Silva is trying to influence the game. He scored a good goal when he came as a sub against Aston Villa to make life difficult. Attempted ball in that time from Yates. He's done well. And is he fouled second time round? He is. And he's been fouled there by Christian Norgard, I think. And Norgard has already been booked. So will this be a second yellow card? Norgard's got up and about and has run away, I think, fairly swiftly. In fact, maybe it wasn't Norgard with the shade. It was Norgard, and he's not going to give him a second yellow.
It's the who me at the minute for Norgard. I think if it was him, he's trying his best just to remove himself from the situation. To be fair, he could be a little bit fortunate, you know, in terms of the initial foul. He gets pushed to the ground with Yates, and then he just flicks out a leg. He's trying to win the ball, but he does catch Yates, and I think he's a very lucky man.
Yeah, and this free kick's being taken in a strange position, if that was the foul that it was for, because it's kind of moved 10 yards infield. It's level with the penalty spot right-hand side for Forest. Can they get themselves a lifeline in this game? A yard to the right of the penalty area. And it's going to be swung in a yellow card for Nuno Espirito Santo, it would appear. Down below from Darren England. He not happy that wasn't a second yellow for Norgard. Now eventually the free kick will be taken on that right-hand side. Elanga's over the top of it. Right-footed, swung in and only half cleared, and it will break out on this near side as far as Sangare. The offside flag is up anyway, and that will be a free kick. Maybe one of the back room actually that got the yellow card then and not Nuno Espirito Santo, but Brentford with a chance to clear their lines as we go into the last 12 minutes.
Now they'll take their time. Norgard has potentially gone down. He's getting himself back up to his feet now, but you can hear what the Forest fans think. They're booing. I think that Brentford are wasting time, but you know, in this moment with 13 minutes left and whatever's added, that's Brentford's prerogative at the moment. I think if it was Forest the other way round, I totally understand it, but just think Forest, they've not been clinical enough in those forward areas. They've introduced tempo to the game, but when they were really in control in the second period of that first half, they didn't make it count. And Brentford have done what actually Brentford have done all season. They've been really clinical in their counter-attack, and yeah, relatively 2 goals out of nowhere, but you still got to finish them, and it's been a real uphill battle for Forest since then.
11.5 minutes to play. You're listening to Talksport 2. Premier League live down this left-hand side. The ball is played long for Elanga. Elanga does well. All good interplay with Williams. Elanga away. Cuts that one back towards the edge of the penalty area where Yates was arriving, but the danger was red and is cleared away by Yarmouk quite well. And Bumo on this near side. He's got Damsgaard alongside him, but it's run back by Sangare. Clipped forward that time by Williams. Awani being held at the edge of the penalty area. But again, no interest from the referee. Here's Elanga who tries to get it in. The first header is won by Norgard. And then in the end, Milenkovic puts it into touch on this near side and out of play for what will be a throw to Brentford. A reminder, the finale to the Championship is live on Talksport 2, Saturday lunchtime from 12:30. We'll bring you full match commentary of Coventry City against Middlesbrough, two sides chasing a playoff place, of course. The bottom of the table to be decided as well. We already know that Burnley and Leeds are on their way up. They'll be in the playoffs, potentially Coventry or Middlesbrough alongside Sheffield United and Sunderland, and maybe Bristol City will follow the story wherever it goes. 12:30 kickoff Saturday lunchtime here on Talksport 2. Alanga down the left hand side, and his ball in is easily gathered by Flecken inside his 6-yard area.
I think Forest, they're just looking like they're running out of ideas. Alanga's definitely been the bright spot for Forest, there's no doubt about that, but sort of the movement in the box, I think, is what I've been disappointed for with Forest. They've created some good moments, decent quality into the box. Normally you blame the service into the box. I don't think it's that, but the movement from whether it be Chris Wood one year or whether it's the midfielders then driving from deep to try and get in there, it's just not been good enough. It's been quite clunky and disjointed would be the words I'd use.
9.5 minutes to play. Brentford lead by 2-0. Here's the free kick for Forest, midway inside the Brentford half. Swung in looking for Chris Wood, obviously can't find him. It's well dealt with on this occasion. Nico Williams has it now on this left-hand side. Short into Alanga. Alanga on the charge down this left-hand touchline. Coyote comes across and does enough, and the ball runs out of play, and it will be a goal kick again away to our left-hand side. A reminder that other live football available across the Talksport network tonight. We're just into the second half of Athletic Bilbao against Manchester United over on Talksport. Manchester United leading the 10 men of Bilbao by 3-0. And in reminder on the Talksport app, Spurs are leading Bodo Glimt in the first leg semi-final of the Europa League as well. They lead 2-0, and Chelsea, as you know, are 2-up against Djurgården. Away from home in the Conference League, Real Betis ahead against Fiorentina by 1-0 as well. So you're up to date with all the goals. Reminder, all the live sport taking place. Get yourself the Talksport app. I mean, you can swipe between the live games as well as look at some of the best bits of Talksport. Clips ball out wide to the right-hand side to try and find Mbumo, but cannons off ahead and go out of play for a throw to Brentford down this near touchline. Another couple of changes about to happen. Christopher Jair is coming on, and Yunus Konak as well, about to enter the fray for Brentford as they look to see this game out with 8 minutes or so remaining, plus stoppage time, of course. Still to come, Palace, Leicester, West Ham and Chelsea. For Forest, so all is not lost. They probably have the better running of all those teams chasing a Champions League place. Coyote down this right-hand side. Flatter delivery this time, and that means it can't get beyond the head of Nico Williams. Awani just trying to work his way forward, probably with a little shove involved, but it's a poor header away this time by Milenkovic on this near side. Over to cover will be Williams, and here comes the double change for Brentford.
I love the fact as well, I'm just watching Thomas Frank, everyone else pretty much in the Premier League, they've got the iPads, all the kit, he's still there with it, old school tactic boards and the magnets, and I'm here for it. I like that.
Just running through the things that Canuck needs to know, and the other change is that of Coyote as well, who looked very weary on a couple of occasions. He's off. Ajay will just slide in there, and the introduction as well of Yunus Konak as Brentford look to see this game out and take the 3 points back to West London. 6.5 minutes plus stoppage time to play.
You can't see anything other now, can you? I think as much as there's been a big majority of the games where Forest have dominated, actually in terms of the better quality of chances created, I think we can say that it's certainly been with Brentford. Forest just haven't done enough in both boxes.
I think the reality is they've scored first in 24 Premier League games. If you look at their numbers, 18 wins, 6 draws. When they get in front, plan A works and they only need plan A. You question really whether Forest have a plan B, because they haven't really, with the changes and change to the 2 up front, been particularly effective at challenging Brentford.
Normally Brentford, that sometimes they can concede goals, especially at the start of the season. They were the great entertainers, having those 3-2 and 4-3 games, but that stability at the back has definitely progressed throughout the season.
Jota Silva gets on the end of Mourinho's pumped ball forward, comes out as far as Alanga, and then the offside flag goes up again, and it will be another free kick for Brentford, whose line has caught Forest quite a few times tonight.
Hasn't. Just think in general, the dynamism of that forward line that we've come to expect, the movement, the timing of the movement especially, just hasn't been on the levels that it has been for a lot of this season.
Ramon Sousa is coming on for Forest. You're listening to Nottingham Forest against Brentford on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van. Clearance from Flecken, which helped lead to the second goal for Brentford, scored by Visser, his 17th in the Premier League this season. 3 in a row he's scored in now. And here he is on the ball on this right-hand touchline. Just given away, picked up by Awani. On this near side, Elanga. Forward again to Awani. He's got 2 round him. Oh, just misses his kick as he was trying to set Elanga away. But Williams is there this time. And again, it's Visser who's inside his own half. The centre forward doing the defensive duty.
Yeah, and I think he potentially catches Nico Williams a little bit there, but it's not a foul, just sliding in, connects with ball and then player.
Oh, lovely ball from Sangare out wide to that right-hand side. Dr. Silva's there, clips it up high in the air into the penalty area, nodded down by Norgard. Out on this left-hand side for Nico Williams, right-footed ball, swung in over the top of everyone, bending, spinning and skipping away behind and into the Forest supporters. And that will be a goal kick for Brentford.
It probably sums up their night, really, their Forest. This frustration, getting into the final third. Well, in terms of that final ball, there's a mixture of end product actually at times has been really good, but players being in the right place at the right time, the decision making. We've barely seen anything of Chris Wood, and who's been such a standout for them this season, but he's really struggled to get into this game tonight.
Well, certainly the race for these Champions League places, we've got you covered across Talksport over the next 4 or 5 days. Tomorrow night, Manchester City against Wolves, as I mentioned. Saturday lunchtime, Aston Villa against Fulham, live and exclusive to National Radio from 12:30. And then on Monday night, Crystal Palace against Forest. Forest back in action again, live across the Talksport network on Talksport. Plus, of course, we've got Champions League action next week for you as well, Tuesday and Wednesday night too. And on Thursday night, we'll have the second leg of the Europa Leagues, plus the Championship playoffs get underway as well. So much fantastic football to come across the Talksport network as we enter May. The real boiling point of the season, all those playoffs, of course, semi-finals and finals, live and exclusive across the Talksport network. Counter on here for Brentford now, down that left-hand side. And Brumo on this right-hand side, he's thinking he may get a chance here, but I think he's going to try and go all the way. He does find Mbumo, who bends one just over the top of the bar. Left foot from the edge of the penalty area, sends it sailing over the crossbar. It was teed up for him beautifully, but in the end he couldn't find the target.
Yeah, perfect for him, isn't it, in terms of being on that wand of a left foot, trying to curl it back across from where the ball's come from. He does most of it right. I think there's just not enough curl to bring that back inside the post and back down. He's played well today in Burmo, but not got that goal that he wants yet.
Here they come still, haven't given up here for us. Nico Williams into the penalty area, goes down. It's a free kick right on the edge of the box. Williams, of course, happy to argue with Darren England. The yellow card comes out for Adjer, the substitute. Just for a moment, thought that may have been inside the penalty area. But edge of the box, according to Darren England, and it'll be a free kick for Forest.
I mean, no doubt it'll be checked, but for me, I think that's the right decision. The initial contact starts outside of the box, and then Nico Williams falls into the box, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. Desperate attempt to try and go down. It's a pull of the shirt from Adjer. And a free kick. It's probably about 8 yards out from goal. It's a yard outside the left-hand edge of the penalty area. In front of that trend end for Forest. Williams has stood over it. Elanga is going to swing it in. I mean, are you standing it up or are you going for goal? There's 2 men in the wall covering the near post, and Bumo being one of those. Williams is going to tee it up for Elanga to drive it with power, spilled by the keeper, trying to poke it home with Silva, but it's blocked on the line, and in that 6-yard area. They've got it again though, down this left-hand side. Williams gets it over, comes down to Chris Wood, who was trying to hit it, but his pathway partially blocked that time by a touch from Ramon Sousa, who has possession again from Murillo, and they came very close to giving us a grandstand finish here, Forest. As we tick round into time added on, there's 4 minutes. Wood with a header on and gathered by Flecken.
It's a really good whip balling cross-come shot from Elanga. I don't think he quite knew which one it was, but it didn't matter. He was just trying to find an area of force. It's a good save from Flecken. Maybe he was hoping one of his teammates was going to run across the front post or get a bit of a fortunate deflection. And then you're right, Chris Wood, you can see, is lining up, wanting to hit that one on the volley. Sosa, his teammate, gets in the way and the moment disappears.
Opportunity came knocking, but again Brentford desperate to bag that clean sheet. They managed 4 clean sheets in the last 8 away games. It could be about to become 5, but Elanga's got other ideas here down the left-hand side. Ajer with some good defending helps it into Norgard. Norgard will clip it out as far as Williams, but Mbumo's there to put the pressure on and happy to concede the throw midway inside their own half. We've had a minute of the 4 added here at the City Ground. Well, they're certainly still going here, Forest. Dominguez in towards Wood. Wood just falls down to the ground and the left-footed shot is driven over the crossbar. Ramon Sousa with the effort. Thought he should get a corner. But once more, the ref not interested.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. I think it was a shout more in hope than expectation. Just thinking about Forest going forward now, the fixtures they've got, especially that Chelsea one. I mean, so much could happen. I think there's Palace in there, Leicester. Yes, they're already relegated and you're expecting Forest to win. That's a bit of a derby, but then who knows when teams have got nothing to play for. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting final few games. And how big could that Chelsea game be at the end of the season as well?
Could well be a 6th away win of 2025 here for Thomas Frank's Brentford side. Wood is on the charge to chase that one down, but Flecken will clear first time. We're into the last 2 minutes of added time, and Brentford still leading here on Talksport 2 by 2-0. Headed away by Milenkovic. Clipped on its way down this right-hand side by Mbumo. This is on the charge after it. Milenkovic will play it towards Nico Williams on this near touch line. He's had the final touch and it'll be a corner for Brentford on this near side. Very clever from Visser. I think Milenkovic possibly just sold Williams out a little bit there.
He did, but again, Visser there, he's got no right to win that. At this stage of the game, he's not expected to chase that, but initially you're right. Milenkovic probably panics a little bit and doesn't help his teammate out, but it's because Visser was closing him down. And just that work rate, that honesty to want to get on the ball has paid dividends today.
Corner, and Mbumo to deliver it. The Forest fans are filtering out by their hundreds, I would say, as Mbumo gets that across, and good header away from Murillo, helped on its way that time by Dominguez, and Sosa will now push it to that right-hand side, and the charge is on from Jota Silva. He's got Awani in the middle, but the first time ball is straight into the arms of Mark Flecken. I wouldn't say he's had an easy night, but everything he's had to deal with, he's dealt with incredibly well, Courtney.
Yeah, it's one of those for a goalkeeper where he's had saves to make. You're right, it's not been easy. He's not been a passenger by any stretch of the imagination, but all the saves that he's made, you're expecting a goalkeeper of his calibre to do so. He's not really been tested in the way that Forest would have liked.
Last 20 seconds of the time added on, and the ball in the arms or the feet of Matt Sells away to our right hand side on a disappointing night for him. And Nottingham Forest here at the City Ground under the lights, such an intimidating atmosphere, and it was in the early stages of this game. But that goal before half time from Kevin Schade, and there is the final whistle from Darren England, and it's a blow to Forest's hopes of going on a European journey next season. They'll remain in 6th place in the Premier League tonight. That's 4 defeats in their last 5 in all competitions. A side who'd been so dominant throughout the campaign, winning week after week. They've had their sticky patch, and it's right at the worst possible time at the tail end of the season. at a time when those around them, the Newcastles, the Manchester Cities of this world and the Chelseas, have started to pick up points. But what a performance tonight from Thomas Frank's Brentford side. A 6th away win of 2025. And it's an excellent one at one of the toughest places to come in the Premier League. Kevin Schade goal before half-time, and Visser sealing the points. 2 goals from long balls over the top that usually you would expect this Nottingham Forest defence has been so resilient throughout this season to deal with. But tonight they were left wanting, and it's Brentford who potentially take a step closer to European football in the race for the Conference League in 8th place. And Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside me tonight. Brentford thoroughly deserved that victory.
Yeah, there were great value for it. Don't get me wrong, there were times that Forest put them under relative amount of pressure in terms of possession and tempo, but as we mentioned, in terms of Flecken, he was never really tested in a way that you thought, oh, that's a fantastic save. It was all quite general saves that you're expecting a goalkeeper like that to make. And I think the way that they conceded the 2 goals, they'll be disappointed for us. The first one especially, it's a great ball from Nathan Collins, don't get me wrong, there's no pressure on the ball. The defensive line have to drop, they don't. Schade does well, and they're very, very, very similar to the second one. They don't win the first phase, but we know this about Brentford. They've got the best shot conversion rate in the Premier League. You don't need to give them too many chances for them to put the ball in the back of the net. And as the season's gone on, they've looked more defensively solid as well. And as you mentioned, Adam, they were great value for the win. And yeah, we're mentioning about what this could be for Forest and their, European hopes. But actually, this could be massive for Brentford in the European race as well.
Look, I think the key will be Forest will play European football next season. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But when you've held that Champions League spot for as long as they have, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself looking from the outside in, it could end up being a season that promised so much, but with a semi-final defeat and then maybe slipping out the Champions League as well, then all of a sudden what should be euphoric, as in Europe anyway, feels a little bit like disappointment.
Look, life is all about perspective. 17th, was it? They finished last season. So I don't think any Forest fan in their wildest dreams would have expected, the 3 quarters of the season that they've had, an FA Cup semi-final, spending the majority of this league in the season in the Champions League places. So you look at it like that and you're thinking they're still in a good place. But actually, you're right, Adam. When you've been there for so long, you want that Champions League place. You don't want to drop out of it. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one to swallow tonight for sure, but I think for me it's, to win their games, for that last one against Chelsea, relatively it's still in their hands.
Yeah, 4 cup finals remain for Forest against Palace, Leicester, West Ham and then potentially Chelsea on the final day of the season. As for Brentford, as we said, they closed to within 2 points of Fulham. They've got Fulham to play, they've got Manchester United to come to the G-Tech, they go away to Ipswich and they finish away at Wolves. We talked about the qualities of Thomas Frank. We saw it all tonight, how he sets a team up, the plan, how he's coached those players, the system that they play. And it could be that, apart from the Anglo-Italian Cup, which they played many years ago, this could be a proper foray into Europe on the cards for Brentford.
Yeah, it could be, and why not? Is, as you mentioned, the way that he coaches players, makes them better. The way that he sets up, he's happy to be adaptable. He changed it in game in terms of bringing Keane Lewis Potter off because he was in a bit of bother. He'd had a torrid time in the first half, really. So he's not afraid to make the big decisions, Thomas Frank. And them fixtures you're reeling out as well, they're all massively winnable fixtures for Brentford. Yes, Wolves are on a great run. We know that Manchester United, yes, they're winning tonight, but are what they were in the context of what you normally think about Manchester United. So, look, again, they'll be happy because it's in their hands. They can go and win those games. And yeah, as we said, didn't we, at half-time about Thomas Frank and his future and what that means. But what he has done for Brentford as a club, where he has got them to at the moment, and yeah, could be one of the greatest seasons in their history.
Time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Well, good luck to you, Courtney, picking anyone of that Brentford side who performed so brilliantly tonight. But who was the one who stood out for you and held the key to that game?
You know what? I'm going to go for Johan Visser. One for the goal, obviously, the former centre-forward in me has to do that, but his work rate off the ball to always make things happen, to be that constant thorn in the side for that Nottingham Forest defence, I have to give it to him.
So Johan Visser is Courtney's man of the match tonight from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.